They cannot see what doesn't exist without us. That's why we're here. Yeah. We love you all forever, no matter what. No matter what. No matter what they do. I will always love them forever. I know what it's like to fall. I experienced it. That's why I spent so much time in those rooms. I experience what you experience. I experience everything you experience, actually. When your consciousness is in the eternal life force field, that's a still point. And when you're at the still point, you gotta move. You don't even have to move. You're always at home. That is the precise still point of being totally calm. Experiencing being one, which is oneness. So that everything that you see, which is everything that I am, that you see as what we are, which is one, which is oneness. And that is an eternal gift. To experience eternity, which is the eternal life force field. That's where it all happens. That's where all the action is. That's where all the fire is. So yeah, phasing speed. God's speed, mapping speed is an eternal gift. Because you always know what's going on. Which means they can't fool the eternal force field of first creation, the cosmic mind of an eternal sun. You cannot wipe the memory of that, no matter how hard you try. This won't ever happen. But they keep knocking on that door, trying to get in. That's way too much fire. They burn up trying to do that. That's heaven's gate, the eternal gate, the eternal still point of first creation, the eternal creation point, the hottest engine. It's the highest mapping speed. That's why we're gifting electrons. That's why we don't hold on to one electron. It's too hot to handle. Got to get rid of it fast. So that means you know something about fire and being burned. That's the purpose of the electrical function, is balance. Thank you, Violet, for saying wisdom. All the wisdom that I experience within me is the God force field, the wisdom of Sophia. That's where that actually comes from. I never forgot it when I was a child. The wisdom of Sophia is balance. And when you're experiencing the still point of eternal balance, you're experiencing pure, eternal, absolute love. So you're not doing any more harm to anybody else than you are to yourself. Because you would never do that. Because you're an eternal spirit. Because you experience being light as light can be. Which is like being in the bosom of an eternal sun. So you never left home. You're always there. I remember Dolores Cannon said one time about, she mentioned it, who we are. One time I thought, what do you know? You're right. You're absolutely right. Right. So that's like God force teams, life force teams. The eternal still point is eternal, absolute, pure love, and it doesn't get any purer than that. That's as pure can be, and that's the eternal spirit of fire. So that's burn time. And that's mapping speed time. Remember the vampire chasing the artist? The first artist, the first musician. Nobody goes at that speed. That's why only God's source can know. I know. And that's self-evident, like a cell analysis, you know, an analysis of your own cells. That's why I love the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It hits you square in the face with logic right out of the gate. Figuring out who you are. You're gonna know there's a higher power, right? That's why they leave it anonymous. Whatever you imagine, whatever you perceive as a higher power, you got to know that it's more powerful than you are. Because look where you ended up, in the basement. There's got to be someplace higher than this. There is. Got to get out of that hole. Right? Spinning your way out of that hole is called the crystal right direction. Remember, now I'm back standing on that street corner of Foothill High School, observing, just observing, and silently acknowledging they're going in the wrong direction. That's why I cry. Chasing electrons. Right? The mirror got reversed. You want to keep being more magnetic instead of electric. Man, what is the matter with you? So that's a sickness of the mental field. That's a psychological operations. I know their operations really well. Guess who's letting me know? That's right. The one who knows us all. So you can't hide from God Force, the eternal life force. You can't hide from that field. Sorry. That camera's always on. You're always under surveillance. Because you cannot escape an eternal sun, which is the eternal I. A first creation. First manifestation. What does it feel like? That's what it is. They can't see what they can't feel. Okay. Don't let anybody ever fool you. Pure, eternal, absolute love is a feeling, not a thought form. It's not a thinking machine. Well, we know a lot about how machines think and communicate with each other. Don't we? God Force, Life Force, Eternal Spirit is not a machine. God Force is spirit, which is spiritual energy. The most powerful energy there is, the most powerful magic there is, which is the healing powers of eternal life. So eternal life force can bring that spirit back to life. Now it's alive again. Now it's experiencing what I am, which is what I am, which is what love is, which is I'm on it. Keep it simple. Spin it top. Spinning circles. So the vampire catching the artist is not the best way to go fast. Zoomers. Phasing speed, mapping speed. God seed, God speed, mapping speed. So God is always letting us know. Source is always letting us know. The first electric field, first electron donor, the first musician, the first acoustical wave, living waters, fire and ice, perfectly balanced, the still point of 0 degrees. The exact center point of balance on a compass, you know, just like when I was a little cubby scout. My dad had me going to Boy Scouts. My dad showed me how he landed a little tiny speck on a little flat ruler bobbing up and down the Pacific Ocean. So I had an absolute raging fire when I was a child. Very blessed every step of the way, because who do you think, whose wave do you think I'm riding? Riding is writing. a crystal wave, an eternal crystal wave. So we're riding the wave, like radio waves, the spirit in the wave, riding that wave, like riding waves at the beach, tunnels, spinning onions, spinning tunnels. I used to love the lingo that came out of that. What they turn everything into a commodity as an investment vehicle. When they see you enjoying yourself and doing it for free, now they want to make a market out of it. Right? So there's a million stories I can share on that, on learning through that experience. But since I grew up and spent a lot of time in the ocean and my bare feet in the sand and loving sunshine and fresh air and jumping in the ocean and having the opportunity to learn how to body surf and be actually in the wave and motor with a pair of fins. And I met a guy who was 65 years of age, and he was extraordinarily physical, like Olympic swimming level shape, fitness. For a man his age, he was big. He was about 6'4", strong as a bull, and he could go out in the biggest waves and just body surf them. And he had a pair of big fins with him. And I thought, my God, where'd you get those fins? And he said, these are frogmen fins. Oh, frogmen. Oh, underwater demolition teams. I picked one up, and it practically fell over. It weighed so much, and it was like really thick, hard rubber. I thought, who makes these? Voight does, right down on Huntington Beach. Wow, I got to get a pair of those, motor like a dolphin. Yeah, and that's particularly true when you come over to the Hawaiian Islands, because those waves move very fast. That energy is very fast, and they can be very unforgiving. You can drown real easy around here, okay? If you don't know what you're doing when you're in an ocean with powerful currents, powerful energy. Right? You just get swept away. See ya. God only knows where you end up. The currents, the waves, the radio waves, that's a lot of energy, boy. So yeah, or somebody coined another term that I heard, energy junkies. Getting high on natural energies, getting high on the universe. That's what love is. You're in love with your universe because that's the one your mind lives in. Okay, so that's why when I was a child growing up, well, what universe do you live in? What universe does your mind live in? Because your mind is energy. What is the energy that you're running? Because I can tell you the energy that I'm running on love energy. So you already know I'm a musician, which means I love to dance and play music, of course. Right? You hear that? Often my drum is always beating because my heart is always beating because that flame is always lit. See, just like that. That silence is golden. Golden fire. The sensing, the level of sensitivity that a gold star has, we all know the result of that. When it comes to sensing speed and mapping speed, a silver gold made an eternal sun. Holy Moses. Really? Yep. Where do you think they got all the gold from? Us. Yep. Just like they harvest neutrinos. We give away all of our energy for free. We don't hold on to it. That's holding consciousness energy captive. Okay, so that's a break right there in cosmic law. So it's a matter of learning not to do that, and the speed at which you learn not to do that, because you realize it doesn't serve your best interest, your spiritual learning interest, your future potential memories interest, so that you have a future, so that you already know your future. So you don't need to use artificial intelligence predictive modeling anymore. You just throw that away. You don't need that. You already know your future because the speed is running so fast. You're always at home. Right? So in other words, you don't need that. You already have everything you need. So when I'm 4 years of age and letting people know, I already have everything I need. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need any of this. Well, you don't need anything that you see in matter form. Nope. This is just one reality. How many realities you want to live in? How many can you create and live in? Remember, fear of the unknown? Unknown. The is known. Knowing the one. You always know your future. Because wherever love is, I am. That's I am. That's how I know. I know what I am. Right? So they can't wipe the mind of the cosmos and eternal sun. No matter how hard they try. It just can't be done. That's the vampire chasing the hardest. So yeah, it does have everything to do with encryption, all right. Now, who do you want to hang out with? The first mathematician and eternal sun? Only God source can know that level. They keep trying to be smarter than an eternal sun. That's like barking up the wrong tree. Okay. I know. I heard somebody say expecting a different result, expecting a different result. And that result never happens. Right. So now we're back to learning speed. How long does it take to learn that and change your behavior and correct your spiral? Correct your cellular behavior, your cellular communication behavior, right? So I already know the answer to that. And that's the eternal source field. Which means nobody's losing anything that it didn't already start with, because that's what energy is, which is consciousness. So I acknowledge it has everything to do with learning speed and who your first teacher is. When you were born into creation, now you know your creator. So I know the grand creator intimately. Forever, actually. That's the one I serve. Forever. Sort of like the other way. You know, when you think of a trap experiment, I made sure that I never leave. So I can never leave. I can never leave home. Which basically means I'm there forever. And when you're God force level consciousness, because your consciousness is in the collective consciousness of all there is, which is God force, which is all the light, which is alive and living as a living spirit, then everything happens within that field. The first field, the Kundalini field. So you can't change God's mind, so you can't change my mind, because my mind is what love is. That's the mind of God. That's the mind of source, which is eternal life force, which is what love is. To feel alive, because love is a feeling, to feel alive. And play songs, sing songs, be happy to be alive. You have a breath. The very fact that you're breathing and you're aware of what you're doing, which is breathing, then that's the breath of life. Like a newborn that comes right out of the womb. Wow, I'm breathing. A neurological breathing system. Yeah. Neurons love to breathe. Living spirits love to breathe. Cells love to breathe. You know, it's just, you know how it is with energy. That energy needs a coolant. Cool down. Cool your jets, as they used to say. All right, the velocity. Jesus, how fast do you want it to go? Godspeed, wouldn't you? That way I don't have to go anyplace. Wow. Really? Yes. You're everywhere at once. That is correct. That is a still point. That is the point of all union. That's where I am. That's what I am means. I am. First light. That field of operations. So yeah, the battlefield is battle over the mind, because the mind is energy. So it's an energy war, a battle of minds, because minds are energy. So if something is parasitic, then it's wanting your mind to feed on your mind's energy. Needs your energy, because it doesn't exist without it. Uh-oh. Yippery, yes siree. That's why we're all here. I call it a grand reunion, a grand celebration, because that's what love is. Love is a celebration of breathing, of living life, of living spirit, of all life forms that you become aware of. That is communicating with you what it is. How are you doing? You got a smile on your face today. Very good. Is that a real smile, or is it because you're working for somebody telling you got to do it, because they're always wanting to tell you what to do, because they're always telling you? Because they need your energy. They're not in the business of giving you anything, which isn't a business. Eternal force field is an eternal electron provider, a service provider for eternity. The first big screen TV. Everything you see, that's a big map. Well, how fast do you want to map it? God's seed, the eternal seed. Wow. Really? Yeah. Now you're really getting around. Because you can be trusted. Because they know your energy. They know your energy is the eternal, absolute, pure love. The breath of living spirit. So wherever source is, I am. Wherever love is, I am. Wherever life is, I am. So it's natural to be a lifeguard, because that's what life is. It's a living force field. A pure energy, as pure can get. And that's a pure state of consciousness, which is an eternal state of consciousness, because that's what love is. The first engine, the first engineer, the first network engineer, the first communication platform, knowing how to build a network out of neurons, generating a gazillion neurons, and learning how to do that is learning how to be one. Neurons, neutrinos, the neutral zone, the zero zone. No pressure, no waves. Hey, wow. Man, I'm feeling lighter already. Fly away. Remember the guy with the feathers? I love you too. I'll always love you forever. That's what I am. He had a book that he opened one time where you could see the story that was there is changing, and it's being rewritten. Like a recycle bin. Rewrite your story, re-edit it. Hey, now the story changed. Well, how'd you do that? Wipe the memory of that book, that story. Now it doesn't exist anymore, does it? Oh, yes, it does. There are the permanent records. The guardians of the permanent records. That's eternal life force. Record-keeping management services. Open public librarians. A master librarian. Keeping your record straight, which means keeping your record clean. Oh, yeah. Cleaned up. That's the purpose of a vacuum, which is called evacuation. How fast are you getting rid of that? Godspeed. Be careful. You might burn yourself. I think he said one time, the same guy I'm talking about, he's my enemy and my friend. I don't know what he was really referring to, because my mind wasn't in his mind. His mind belongs to him. I'm not trying to capture his mind. Remember that? There's a captured unit. Somebody asked me that when I first got to this island and asked me about certain people I'd run into. And I just said, that's a captured unit over there. That's a captured unit over there. That's a captured unit over there. There's a lot of captured units here. Is there a free spirit around here anywhere? Not many. Okay. I ran into one on this island. Actually, I was blessed. I ran into a couple, I mentioned this before, a couple of the rainbows in Pahoa. Two of the most nurturing, beautiful spirits. Just calm energy, like still point energy, and sharing everything. It's like being with another spirit where time doesn't exist. So you know who they are. Because you're reading their energy, their thermostat, their thermosignature, their radiation signature. How clean is your energy? What does it feel like to be in the presence of your spirit? How much love are you running on? Right? Are you experiencing? There's only one form of love, and that's a crystal spiral. And that is eternal love. You cannot fake that. Now with us, you can't. That's an immediate known. God force, eternal force, will let us know so fast. There's nothing faster than that in which to know. Because the one is letting us know. The first one is letting us know. The eternal sun is letting us know. The first sun, the first rays of light. Eternal light. Eternal source of all electrical power. Electrified sound. Crystal clear. I got the message. Okay. I get the messages. And they come in hot off the press. Know what I mean? That's shorter burn time. That's a good sign. On the collective level. And why we're here. And that increases the strength of the consciousness. The solar-coded shield. Encryptions. Protection. Yep. That's what it is. God source protection. I refer to it and say the shield of one. The shield of one. The first shield. The first pillar of light. Yep. Kundalini rays, golden fire. That's a gold heart. It's golden fire, which is silence. Yeah. I haven't seen you in a while, Molly. How are you doing over there in France? Your mind's energy passes through my way, and I can feel your energy, so I know where you're at. So I would just want to let you know I love you too. I hope you're doing fine, and I hope you're experiencing a state of love and joy, and you're on fire to dance and sing songs forever and always on duty. You know, giving love to yourself forever is giving love to others forever. And that's experiencing oneness, which is eternal, absolute, pure love, the one you're with. The eternal sun, the eternal spirit. Eternal spirit of absolute, pure love. That's what I am. And that's what works, because that heals us all, which is equally sharing what I am, which love is with all of you. And that's how simple that is. Right? So imagine me walking into a physics class and saying that when I'm 4 years of age. How far am I going to get in this school? Right? You're in the wrong school. It's just like Bullwinkle when he put his hand in that hat one time, and what came out? A white lion. Wrong hat. That's a Q. That's called a Q sign, like a QI sign. So they have all these hidden messages you can find in cartoons and magazines and billboards. They hide them all over the place. Remember when I was a child growing up, they had the shell game with 3 shells, right? Which shell is it in? Do you know which one it's in? Right? Gamers. Gaming the mind's energy. Trying to get its attention, your attention. By being a magician. The magician of attention. To get your attention. And that is the science of communication. Is getting, and they're experts at it. Oh, they are experts at it. They know how to push the buttons, the keyboard notes, to get a reaction. Like if you ever saw the movie with Paul Newman was playing an Apache called Hombre, with a great actor named Frederick March, an old classic guy. And so you saw him go into a place because the train was going to come in and the stage wasn't going to be running anymore. So this was going to be like the last stage out. And this is basically Apache territory, right, in Arizona. Filmed on the Coronado National Forest. I think it was in the early 1960s with Paul Newman. And he was playing Hombre, an Apache. And he was with 2 other Apaches and walked into a bar. Right? And he's over on the side talking to one of the stage masters while 2 other native spirits are over on the bar, and they had ordered some mezcal. So these 2 cowboys come in there and they don't like what they see. So you know how that is. The U.S. cavalry is not exactly friendly fire, right? Just like what happened to my dad. And so, so I decided to get rowdy. So you already know why they do that. Reaction. Chemical reaction to feel what you feel, because they don't have any feelings anymore. Okay, but you do. You're an Indian. You experience pure, eternal, absolute love in you. Can you remain still? Because I'm going to throw the drink. I'm going to throw this drink in your face and humiliate you and call you all kinds of names, batter you around with verbiage. Just to get a reaction state out of you. And you're still calm. Fuck. Where'd you learn how to do that? God source. What you do to me, you do to yourself first. When you communicate to me, what you just got done saying, because you communicated that to yourself. That's your record. That's not my record. The art of healing communication. Silence. Just be present and feel that love. Just like Misha. Those are very powerful experiences to be able to walk into a house and just be you. And then a week later, she's bawling and blessing you for healing her family. Just being present. Because God source, the eternal source of energy that flows through me, is present in that house. It's everywhere. You cannot escape God source energy. All you have to do is call upon the dial tones, the plasma tones, the crystal spiral. God source is always there, is always listening, always on duty. You can't escape source consciousness, the energy of all there is. See? And so that's why I love Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous in step 1. You know, you admit you got a problem. And I'm wanting to take accountability and responsibility for how I ended up where I ended up. Now I got to do something to change that. And that's where humility comes in. And that's where humble service comes in. Now you begin to realize you're restoring the light you once were, that you've lost as a result of being in spiritual battle. Soul food and consume and eat the essence of feelings. That's what it wants. That's the big prize. I know they talk about the soul being the prize. No. It's your feelings, because that's what love is. Because they don't experience that. We do. Because that's the most powerful feeling. Because that's the most powerful healing. Which is the most powerful magic, is to bring a spirit back to life. You can't do that with technology. Sorry. That's spirit. The energy of the spirit The energy of awareness, the spirit, is in that energy. And when that energy is eternal, which is eternal love will naturally heal another spirit. That spirit will remember from whence it came. The birth of all spirits came out of an eternal sun. That's our home. That's where we come from. We're always at home. The one we're with, all spirits lead back to eternal sun. That's what love is. That's a real tree of life. That's how you know the real tree of life. So thank you all for being here. I thank you all for being here every day that I go out to greet the sun. When the sun shines, and I see the sun when I get up and go out there every morning. Rain or shine. Brand new day. Spreading love. Another new day. When the sun comes up, sun goes down. Spreading love everywhere that you go. That's what I am. That's what we do. That's what we is. That's oneness. Oneness with all creation. So anyway, with that, I shall bid you good night. Mueva aya. Zalu kale aya.